Hi, everyone, and welcome to our podcast, Wandering Works for Us. We are Shelley and Beth, a married couple living in Portugal and traveling the world. These are our stories. Hello, everyone. I'm Shelley.
And I'm Beth.
And we're here with our very first podcast. Yay!
You're going to hear all kinds of things in the background because we're new at this. You might hear dogs barking or a fan whirring. You will definitely hear ice clanking in our gin and tonic cups. It's a little homage to our friends Al and Leanne.
Cheers! So anyway, we have been living in Portugal now for 19 weeks.
Wow.
Doesn't seem like quite that long, does it?
No.
And yet, it seems like we've been here forever.
Yeah. I agree.
What have you liked so far about being here the most?
Well, that's a hard one because I like everything, basically. I love being here. I love the people we've met. I love where we're living, the town specifically, in the area. How about you?
Mostly, I'm loving the weather right now. It's been so nice and warm, but today was super hot. Today was the first day that it's actually been in the 90s or close to it anyway. Well, yesterday was actually, and today was even hotter. But it'll cool off for us pretty soon. But it's been really nice.
It's very nice to be somewhere where it's mostly below 80. I love that.
Share it. And we've been setting up our house, buying dishes, buying new furniture, because, when we left, we sold pretty much everything. So we had to get a few more items, but we've been very careful about what we bought.
Yeah, for example, we have one spatula, and we have one pan that goes in the oven, like for toast. Not 2, not 10, like we had before, but one each. And we have found so far that it serves us just fine.
Yeah.
We're liking living very minimally. And we are renting a very small space.
It might be 400 square feet.
Maybe.
It's really small. But it's enough for us and the dogs and the cat. And we have a beautiful courtyard in the back where I'm able to grow a few things. And the dogs can lay down and have a good time. And yeah, that's what we've been doing. And one of the things that I thought was the most awesome in our purchases is we bought a car the day we drove it in cash. No paperwork, no loans, no setup. We were just like, we'll take it and bam, money transfer. And that was it. That was crazy.
It was.
I've never done that before.
It was crazy. We bought a Citroen C3, right? C3? Mm-hmm. And I had already done a bunch of research, and we knew about how much we wanted to spend. And we looked at used cars first, and we discovered that we could buy a brand new car for the same, or even in some cases less money. And so we went to the Citroen dealer. We just felt really good about it, test drove it. Fortunately, Shelley and I both grew up with manual cars, and so we knew how to drive a stick shift, which is the most common thing here in Portugal, well, in all of Europe, really. And so after a little fits and starts with both of us,
Yep.
The clutch, first gear, all that stuff, we are now expert drivers. Well,
we are not expert drivers.
well, okay. We are acceptable.
We can get from point A to point B without any major mishaps.
Without killing the engine.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're doing okay.
Someone else. Or, we'll get honked at occasionally in the roundabout. But
the roundabouts here are a whole thing.
That might even be a whole podcast.
It could be.
The
They're a whole
roundabouts
thing.
here.
How you enter, how you act in them, how you exit.
Yep. What else? We spent way too much time at Ikea buying furniture and other things. But in between there, we have done some day trips here and there that we're going to tell you about later. Not yet.
Yes.
Anyway.
And we've met friends.
And we have met the most amazing friends here. We have.
Yes.
One American couple, one American and her children, and one Scottish couple. And they are fantastic because they speak English and they're just really nice people. So we've hung out with them a great deal. They've been a great help to us, taking us around, showing us how to do things, explaining things when we don't understand what the hell we're doing, which is a good portion of the time here.
Yeah, we're getting better.
We're
though.
getting better at it.
We're going into a grocery store now and leaving without a headache most of the time.
With that, yeah.
It was quite the adventure at first. But yeah, we've made some great friends. A couple of those, the Scottish couple and the woman and her children, she's actually American. And I had contacted them on Facebook when I figured out they were living where we were going to be moving to, our little town. And they both just found me in the cafe. One of them said, "Hey, you look like Beth." And I said, "I am." So we started talking. And then before too long, the other one walks up and said, "I was walking by and saw you, and I think you're the person I've been talking to on Facebook." So as Shelley said, they have been so generous with their time and just really helped us to settle in and to understand things. And we've also made some what I would call Portuguese friends, or at least acquaintances.
I would call them acquaintances, yes.
Yes. Our bartender over at the cafe is just a lovely, lovely person. He has welcomed us with open arms, and he's teaching us some Portuguese when we order, and he's been great.
And we have a Portuguese teacher that we go to once a week, and she's been fantastic. And then we have like little bits and pieces of people that we've met that recognize us and will talk to us occasionally, like Al. He's building his house up the road, and he's redoing a house, and he speaks very good English, so he was one of the first people that we met here that's been helpful. And Caesar and Natalie have been very helpful too. So soon we'll be having the Festas here, coming up in a couple of weeks, and so we're going to volunteer for the first time, we think, peeling potatoes or doing dishes or something, because Caesar's the one that's in charge of all of that.
A Festas that's festival in English, and the Portuguese have festivals in every tiny town. No matter how many people are in that town, they have a Festas. And they happen mostly in July and August, and most of the time you have to pick like which one you'd like to go to, because there are multiples on weekends, and they are the most charming, fun, good food, great music. They're just a lot of fun. So we're looking forward. We've already had one here back in May.
Yeah.
And we've got one coming up the end of August. And it's 4 days of
straight partying.
Yep. And music and food and dancing. Should be a lot of fun.
And we live here in the center of town, so we're in the middle of all of it. So they basically told us, hey, you're either all in or you get out of town for the weekend. So we've also hooked up with a fantastic dog sitter.
Oh.
And so, yeah, love Lucy. She's been taking care of our dogs, and so we're going to take the dogs over there and let them have camp while we pretty much party for 4 days.
Yes.
We may or may not survive that. I might be.
We're going to survive, and here's why. My son is coming to visit us,
Woohoo!
and his last day before he flies out the next day is the start of the festival. So we probably won't participate much that day, the first day, and then we have to take him to the airport the next morning. So we'll really only have 3 days of
And
instead
not
of
4.
4, so we might survive.
We might be okay.
Yeah.
I might, if I get a little bit of sleep, I think we'll be okay. But we are loving life here.
We are. It is really, it has exceeded my expectations. I knew it was going to be, or I hoped and assumed and read that it was going to be wonderful, but it is even better than I imagined. Um, the pace of life here is much slower, and it is it's a real kind, gentle kind of existence most of the time. And there's not a lot of worry about, time or getting things done fast. Shelley and I always joke that the Portuguese, as we know them so far, are very slow kind of with everything. They're very patient and all of that until they get in a car.
And then they drive like a bat out of hell.
They do. In general.
In general. Not all Portuguese. There are some that are very slow drivers, but yeah, we found that most of the time they're wanting us to get out of the way.
Indeed.
Yeah, but I've enjoyed time here because it has slowed down. It's been, that's one of the things that I was going to talk about, I think. Or what was the most difficult adjustment that we had to make here. And mine was that time runs so differently here. And because things are slow. So in America, for example, if we want to get a pedicure, we just jump in the car and we go to a salon. And whether we got an appointment or not, we can usually get in. I mean, we might be there 3 or 4 hours, waiting or getting our nails done or whatever. But we can get in very quickly and get it done the same day. Here, we have to contact the pedicurist. There's maybe 2 in town, but there's one we like. And we have to contact her, and sometimes it's a week out before we can get an appointment. The same with our hair. It's a week out before you can get an appointment. So you have to make sure that you're scheduling things in a timely manner. Otherwise, we're kind of, having to wait. And the thing about the wait is the time goes by so fast.
It does. It does.
It doesn't feel like it's that week you have to wait. Before you know it, I got an appointment today. So
the other thing that's really different time-wise is that it is very common for a meal, whether that is lunch and or dinner, to take 3 or more hours. And
at a minimum 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a time to slow down and enjoy the food and enjoy the people you are with and the people around you. And no one's in a hurry. No one is trying to turn a table. In fact, you have to practically beg them for the check at the end. They're a little disappointed when you leave, I think. But it has really taught us to slow down and to plan things a little better and just be more in the moment and enjoy our days. One shocking thing that has happened, speaking of time and related items, that has happened since I moved here, is that I quit wearing my Apple Watch. There are people that will hear me say that will be shocked by that, because I have been married to my Apple Watch for many years. But I just don't need it here. First of all, I've retired, so that, has something to do with it. But also, I don't want every notice popping up on my arm and taking me out of the moment and all of that. So I have stopped wearing my Apple Watch. It's pretty amazing, isn't it?
It is. But I've worn mine, and basically because I want to count all my steps, because we get way more exercise here than we did when we were in the States.
Indeed.
I have to walk the dogs at least twice a day, and then most of the things that we need in our village are within walking distance. I don't need to get in the car, so I can walk to our little tiny supermarket that's actually the size of a mini mart but works like a supermarket. And I can walk to the fruit stand. I can walk to
The butcher.
the butcher. I can walk to the other fruit stand that has the fresh fish on Wednesday through Friday. I can walk to the cafe that's just across the street and order either a coffee or a beer or a wine or a mixed drink or whatever
Dinner?
I'm feeling. Dinner.
Lunch? Breakfast?
Yep, you can any of that. So we just walk mostly where we go.
We do. And our two sets of our friends live here in town with us, and we can walk to their place. One is about 4 doors down from us. That's awfully convenient.
Yes, it is. It's a little too convenient sometimes. But
But that has been great. We get in the car when we want to go, 15 minutes away to the beach. And that's another thing that's really different here is we have probably, I don't even want to guess, but something like 40 beaches, different beaches that have, generally kind of different character, or there might be a lot of rocks, there might be a lot of sand, or there might be restaurants on the beach, or there may be none, but different areas that we can get to in 15 to 20 minutes, which is really lovely.
it's doing wonders for my tan.
There's no such thing as a private beach in Portugal. And so even where a resort is, for example, the beach that is in front of their resort is not private, and which is great because you can kind of go anywhere. Although it's August right now, so
We don't want to go anywhere.
things
right
are
now.
things are crowded in August. This is the traditional time when there's that dog I was talking about. This is the time when if you're Portuguese and your family still lives in Serra, for example, you come here for at least part of August and visit the family for vacation. Or other people in other parts of Portugal or in other countries. I think we have a lot of Germans, we have a lot of French, we have a lot of people from Spain. A lot of people,
Brits.
a lot of Brits, a lot of Brazilians that all come here to vacation. And so middle of July to the end of August, endish of August, it is much more crowded than it usually is the rest of the year. Although, as Shelley and I have said many times, when we've happened upon something, it's not Myrtle Beach crowded. So there's that.
Thank goodness. Because we'd be moving if that were the case, or I'd be hiding a lot.
We should mention that our podcast and the blog that you mostly work on, or exclusively work on at this point, and our website and our social media and all of that is under the name Wandering Works for Us. And you can find us on all the socials. And is the 4 always a number 4?
No, it's the FOR.
It's FOR. Wandering Works for Us. Okay. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we go?
I don't think so. We gotta leave something for the next podcast.
We do.
And Patty Cake has something to say.
Yes. And we want to give a shout out to Leanne and Al, our podcasting buddies
From a sideways life.
from a sideways life who really have inspired us to try this podcasting thing. And we will always have a gin and tonic when we do it, just like they do.
So I guess we'll see you next time.
Okay, thanks for listening.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. If you would like to reach out to us or ask questions, you can find us on our social media pages on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. You can also follow us at our website, www.forus.com. That's www.forus.com. Hope to hear from you soon. Obrigada!